if I could read some faces over here. Okay. All right. Maybe one, maybe two. No, you're not gonna. You're not gonna. Your father's here. You're not gonna be able to. I don't mind opening up right now for you guys. Question and answer. Start off. I mean, any question, any topic, anything. But like I said, right? See, just want to let you know the difference between guys and girls over there. I open that up to a girls' crowd, like 40 hands shoot up. It's never a topic I want to talk about, and it's mostly they ask me things I don't even know about. Like they're going to ask me something about some social media thing that I've never heard of. But for guys, I can always ask that question and always feel safe that not one person's going to ask a question. When you guys turn 25, you're going to say to some rabbi somewhere, no one ever wanted to answer my questions. But okay, it's fine. It's fine. I did the same exact thing. I'm just saying. If anybody wants to jump in with a question at any point, please feel free. It doesn't have to be on topic. It could be off topic. That's my favorite thing to do with a small crowd, is that if we're able to go off topic, if we're able to ask questions, if we're able to do topics that guys are interested in, that would be beautiful. If not, don't worry about it. I've spoken before. Rachat Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'akol nihi yevro. Okay, so let's get started here. So we're entering right now. We're already in Shavuot because of what the concept of Shavuot is. Tonight really starts Shavuot because it has to be full days. That's why it's tomorrow night. We had to count already on Sirah. We had to count full days. That's why it's already tomorrow night. But really, we already started. We're already in that zone of Matan Torah. We're already in that place of receiving the Torah. Now, see, like I said, all the wrong people. So we're already in that zone of Matan Torah. So what is the whole concept of receiving the Torah? What's the whole idea of it? What do we need it for? What's that? Right. And this is what everyone. This is always going to be the answer. What do we have Torah for? We have Torah to learn Torah. That's what we need Torah for. Now, you're not wrong. This is what I was also taught, but it's wrong. What was the point of receiving Torah? What was the whole point of it? It's a very difficult idea sometimes. When we look at it, we look at the whole world. Although this isn't entirely true, but I found most people believe this. Of the whole world, do you think a larger percentage of the world believes that there's a God? I'm not talking about Judaism yet. Believes that there's a God or doesn't believe that there's a God? Of the whole world, do you think the majority of the world believes that there's a God or doesn't believe that there's a God? That is what most American people or most American kids are going to say. However, there's no chance that that's actually true, right? Think about the whole world. You're talking about all of the Muslim countries. You're talking about Asia that has a crazy amount of Christians in it. You're talking about Europe that has a vast amount of Christians in it. Now, there are plenty of atheists. I'm not taking that away. We're talking about billions upon billions of people that believe that there's a God. I still don't actually know which one wins. But the fact that we go right away and we're always like, nah, most of the world doesn't. Because we're made to feel that we're the minority of belief. We sort of can't believe that we got this right. And that's okay, that's good, it's humility. But we need to understand certain basic things. And with these basic things, we can really understand now what Torah is. Number one. When was the first Pesach? Right, we know that the whole point of Pesach was that we leave Mitzrayim. Why? So that we can go to receive the Torah. When was the first Pesach? Anyone know?
The year after they left?
That's what you would think.
No,
No,
right? Because what are they saying?
It's when Hashem was testing Noach and his son and his family.
Okay, wow. Okay. This guy knows a little bit too much Midrashim. All right. You happen to be right. But I'm going to say the wrong answer and say it's right. But I'm saying openly, you're right. I'm wrong, what I'm about to say. But you're getting too fancy on me. So we're just going to say, we're going to ignore your answer for right now because it's right, but it doesn't fit with what I want to say.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm just saying, it's right, it is correct. But that was a concept of Pesach. It wasn't actually Pesach. So it would make sense that the first Pesach was the year after. Why the year after? Because what do we say on Pesach? We left Mitzrayim. And the first opportunity we have to do that is the year after. However, the first Pesach was the night that we left. It was the night that we left. Now, one point that I do want to add, what was your name? Elia? Elian? I didn't even know that name existed until right now. That's an amazing name. Elian says that there were times beforehand. I'm going to give a little bit of a different time because it's more obvious this time. Who was the first person in the Torah? Who was the first person in the Torah to have Seder? To have the Seder night of Pesach in his, I'm not going to say house, but it's the first person. Anyone know?
No.
A little trivia. No?
Avram?
Ding, 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 ding. Avram. Actual Seder was Avram. Why?
With the angels?
Very good.
Oh, wasn't Avram born and they hit him?
That's it. They don't even. I know. I should leave. I don't. I realized I just walked into the lines, and you know when you go into a business deal, and the guy comes in and he has ripped pants, and you're like, I think we can work this out. Then he sits down and starts shooting numbers at you, and you're like, oh no, he's one of those geniuses. I can't do this.
But wasn't Avram born while Nimrod was trying to?
Yeah. I know where you're referring. But the first actual sit down of a seder was with the Malachim. How do we know? Avram gave them matzah. He gave them korban pesach. The question is, what the heck kind of seder was this? They didn't leave Mitzrayim. It's hundreds of years before. Like, what? How did this happen? What was he doing? The answer is something very interesting, guys. Pesach was around before we left Mitzrayim. Hanukkah was around before the Greeks. Purim was around before the Persians. Shavuot was around before Matan Torah. The Zohar says every single Chag that we have is just a special day. The actual day, we're not commemorating something that once happened. What we're remembering is the reason we know today is special is because that's the day the Torah was given. But it was always special even before the Torah was given. Pesach was always special, says Zohar, even before we left Mitzrayim. Only few people knew about that special day, like Avram Avinu, who was giving out and making Seder night that night because he knew there was something special. So everyone asks, so what's so special about it? So we see, we're not going to go into it right now, it's beyond our scope right now, but we see that what Avram Avinu was doing then was freeing people. He was trying to make it that Sodom does not get destroyed. He was trying to make certain things happen. He was freeing people. What is Shavuot? Shavuot is the idea, even without the Torah. Shavuot was always the idea, and we have many proofs to this. Shavuot was always the idea, right? What does anyone know another name for Shavuot?
Chag Matan Torah.
Chag Matan Torah.
Chag Simchatenu.
Chag Simchat. See the junior rabbi here or something, this one? What is he? He's incognito. Like the rabbi just went, shaved his beard, came back in a t-shirt, and the Simchatenu, Chag Aviv, a lot of people call it. All of these have one thing in common. These are all inner things coming out. These are all the ideas of us finding something about ourselves. What the Torah is You ever heard the saying, Shivim panim la Torah, there are 70 faces to Torah? In reality, there's a lot more than that. There's a lot more than that. The key to learning Torah, the key to Torah in general, is not just sitting there reading it and trying to understand it. It's trying to see what about me is in Torah. What about me is specially connected to this thing called Torah? Because when Hashem gave the Torah, He didn't just give us a Gemara, give us Torah, give us all these things. What did He do? What did Hashem want with the Torah? So says the Ma'aral, what did Hashem want to do with the Torah? He wanted to show us the secrets to what the purpose of us being here are. Now, if Hashem just wanted to do that, He could have done what a lot of other nations say happened to them, which is give it to Moshe Rabbeinu, have him hand it over to us, and Zeh. He didn't have to do a whole Har Sinai. He didn't have to do a whole light show. He didn't have to do all of that. So why did He do all of that? Why did we all have to be by Matan Torah? We had to be there because there was one very important thing. Zohar brings down. Who was the first man?
Adam.
Right. So Rav Yonatan and I were talking about this today. Let's say it was Adam. It wasn't, but let's say it was Adam. Right? Gemara brings down. There was 900. I don't remember what we said today, but I think it was 970 something tries before Adam. None of them made it. Adam, believe it or not, Adam was the one who made it the longest without sinning, and he was in he was in Gan Eden for like 20 minutes before it happened. But he was the one who made it the longest without that going down. That just goes to show how bad things were before that. Adam was the first person. Now I want to say something. I'm going to say this a few times over the course of Shavuot because I think it's very important. My Rebbe always said he has a pet peeve. You know what a pet peeve is? Neither do I. I think it means that something that bothers you. Something that bothers you. My Rebbe said he has a pet peeve when people say, what do you want? I'm only human. I'm only human. He says, you're only human? You have any idea what being a human being is? When Adam was created, when man was created, the Malachim started singing Shira. They started praising him like he was God, like he was the Ribbono Shel Olam, like he was Borei Olam. They started singing to him. Hashem immediately was like, woohoo, no thank you. Everyone, let's calm down with the singing. But they thought he resembled Hashem so closely that the Malachim themselves started singing Shira. Now Adam was one person, and we know that every neshama that has come to being after Adam is a break-off of that one soul. It all started with that one soul. And it was all a break-off. And what did Hashem say about Adam? He was the caretaker of the world. Now guys, this is the most important part of anything I'm going to say. Adam was the caretaker of the entire world. He took care, and he was charged with the trajectory of the rest of history. And his soul broke down to be the Jewish people that we have now. All of us are a fragmented piece of Adam, which means that job still belongs to all of us, but we all have an individual job to make up that whole. This is why we all had to be by Har Sinai. We were saying earlier today, we were in a high school earlier today, saying something very similar about this. But I want to touch on a different nukuda over here. Because I have one fight that I try going out there for. And I feel like if I could do this one fight, if I could get this one fight done, I'll give you a little bit of a background. I worked with addicts for many years in addictions and the like. I was something called, that's illegal now, illegal, but it's illegal. It was called an extreme interventionist. It means that how How open am I? I can do what I want. Apparently, okay. It means that you go. This was a concept they used to use in addictions. Now, Baruch Hashem, thankfully to everyone, we don't use it anymore. But used to go and meet the addicts in their own territory and get them out and bring them to rehab. So if you had to go to,
but when you say addicts, like to what, like weed?
The ones I was working with varied, but it was mainly it had to be a heavier substance. Let's say you have a So let's say you have a guy who is smoking weed. I'm not putting that like to light, Let's say you have a guy who's smoking weed. The odds that I have to go get him or find him somewhere is slim to none, right? It's never happened to me, but slim to none. Yeah, so is alcohol, but we still have alcoholics. I'm saying, I don't know that.
Too much.
I don't. Yeah, he's You got a future business. You got a future business running for yourself. But so.
They just made it legal. They just made weed legal in Texas. You know that?
Mazel tov to Texas. Weed's been legal in a lot of places for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I know.
Again, legal doesn't mean that it's safe.
There's a restaurant in New York. It's just based all on weed.
Send me the address.
I'll go with you.
I could get a lot of clients. I don't know you'd be allowed. So the right. So part of that idea of an addict, of someone losing their ability to choose, comes from something. There's a hole. There's an emptiness inside of them. Now, you might have people who try certain things and who want to experiment and want to whatever in their life. But in reality, what just about all people who fall down that rabbit hole are trying to do, all of them, they're trying to fill a void that's going on inside themselves. And that void is very difficult to fill with anything other than something real. How does it start? So my goal is to go out and explain to people something. There's another thing I'm probably saying a lot over Shavuot because it very much ties in. My Rabbi Berkowitz always said, I don't know if you guys know this, but there are 13 Ani Ma'amins. There are 13 Ani Ma'amin written by the Rambam. Ani Ma'amin Emunah Shlema V'Yat HaMashiach, and so on and so forth. Say it every day at the end of davening. 13 of them. My Rebbe always says, if the Rambam were alive nowadays, and he was writing Ani Ma'amim now, he would have added a 14th Ani Ma'amim, which is Ani Ma'amim Be'emunah Shalema. I believe with a full belief that Hashem loves me and believes in me.
So why do we say that if he didn't make it?
What's that?
Why do we say that if he didn't make it?
No, he did. He's saying he would have added another one.
So what?
Why would he have had? No, it's a good question. Why would he have had to have added another one? Because back in the Rambam's days, they understood this. You know how your grandparents, like you have, if all of you have the same grandmother, obviously none of you have the same grandmother, but I'm saying if all of you have a similar grandmother that I had, my grandmother would sit there praying all day long. She barely knew halacha. She could barely read Hebrew. All she would do is sit there praying all day long. She loved it. It was like her, again, could barely read Hebrew. But she had such an emunah. She had such a deep belief. It was mind-blowing to me. She never learned in a Jewish school. She grew up in Morocco. She never learned in a Jewish school. She never learned Torah. She hung out around very, very big Talmidei Chachamim she had from her family. But her within herself didn't. But she had such a beautiful emunah. The generations before us had this unbelievable emunah that was from all the way back in the day. And as time went on, we lost certain things. One of the things we lost is we stopped believing in ourselves. We stopped taking ourselves seriously. We stopped realizing how important all of us are. And the reason is The reason is that we tell ourselves these stories. We tell ourselves stories about ourselves and we believe them. So I'll give you an example. I was speaking, I'm going to have to use the story twice. I was speaking in Chicago about 8 months ago. I was in Chicago and I was at this Shabbaton.
In Detroit?
Chicago is nowhere in Detroit, but if you want it to be, it can be. And Detroit's in Michigan, Chicago will be in Illinois, two different states. So I'm in Chicago and I'm doing the Shabbat, and it was about 400 women on the Shabbat and 10 men. It was for, I forgot what.
400 women?
There's more than 2 in the world. I don't know what that.
No,
and 10 men. There was like 5 speakers, right? There was like 5 speakers, and then there was women on the thing. Sure enough, I go to this thing and they tell me, Rabbi, we're not sure we're going to even have a minyan at this thing, but if you need a minyan, there's one like 45-minute walk away. This is Chicago in the middle of the winter. Very difficult time. Very difficult time to be around. Sure enough, I go and they tell me, I get there and they tell me, Rabbi, don't worry about it. We have exactly 10 men. You have exactly 10, you're good. I'm like, dang, I really did not want to walk in a Chicago, cold all the way to. So fine. I asked them, okay, when are the speeches? When are what do you call it? They give me the schedule and I'm speaking like twice. They brought me all the way out there and paid me and everything. Brought me all the way out there. I'm speaking twice for 15 minutes each time. It's like I came out all the way to Chicago to do like a half hour of a speech. It was an amazing job. And I was like, what am I going to do the rest of Shabbat? Because again, it was this all women Shabbat. I had nothing to do with any of this. They're like, I don't know, sleep, relax, do whatever you want. I'm like, this is fantastic. I had Sfarim with me. I was just gonna chill. It was gonna be amazing. So I go all the way out there. I speak Friday night. I was done at like 7 o'clock. It was amazing. I was like, this is great. And I learn. Sure enough, I'm sleeping, and I have a dream. And in my dream, my little daughter Eliana, I see her in my dream. And she says to me, she goes, Papa, you have to wake up right now. You're in big trouble. I'm like, what? She's like, wake up right now. You're in very big trouble. You missed everything. You slept through everything. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I wake up, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, that would stink. If I really did sleep through everything, that would be so bad, because that would be horribly embarrassing, right? They brought me out here. They only asked me to do 2 speeches, and I slept through them. It would be. Sure enough, I look over, and I see on the clock, it said like 4:15. And I knew that my speech after Mincha during Sudat Shishit was going to be at 4:15. I look over and it says 4:15. I'm like, I don't believe it. I'm late. I'm late to the speech, and they had a very tight schedule. I jump out of bed. I start getting dressed. Wearing like one sock, my tie wrapped around my head. I just grabbed. I don't even think my suit was matching at that point. I just ran, holding my shoes. I run out of the room, and then I realized I must have been napping, which I never do on Shabbat. I don't know what I was thinking. I must have been napping, and I slept through Mincha, which means that I was one of only 10 men on this whole thing, which means everyone else didn't have a minyan for Mincha, and there's Kriya during Mincha and Shabbat. I felt so stupid. I felt so bad. So I go running down the thing. I go running down the steps. I'm like beating myself up like crazy. I'm like, how dumb can you be? Why would you even go to... It was like one of these really short winter Shabbats. There wasn't even enough time to go to sleep. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. And I'm walking down the steps. I'm killing myself. And then I stop. I'm like, listen, calm down. I'm trying to, get myself to calm. I'm like, it's not so bad. At least you didn't miss Shacharit, right? Like, if it would have been Shacharit, Musaf, that would have been bad. I go down another flight of steps and I realize I don't remember davening Shacharit. And I definitely didn't daven Musaf. And I realized I slept through the whole day. It wasn't just Mincha. I missed everything. I haven't been around all day. And I missed everything. And these people must think I'm dead in my room or something. And then I started getting upset at them. Because I'm like, why in the world would you knock on my door? Who knows what happened to me in the middle of the night? And I got really upset. And I'm like, but they are probably wanting to kill me because I totally missed the whole Shabbat that they brought me out there for. I go running down the steps. I walk into this hallway. I start running down the hallway, and it was this weird hallway, whatever. I'm not going to go into it now, but running down the hallway. And there's this reception woman standing by the reception desk of the hotel. And she's like looking at me like, oh, you're the guy. You must be the guy that they're looking for. Oh, buddy. She didn't say anything, but she was just looking at me like, oh. And I come running down, and I'm looking at her, I'm like, thank you. I know. I appreciate you looking at me like that. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm going to have to work this into a joke somehow in the speech, or I don't know how to get this. I don't know how to get away with this. They're going to kill me. And it's so embarrassing. I don't even want to see any of them. It's so embarrassing. And I look over, and I'm beating myself up. I'm like, how dumb can you be? How lazy can you? How can you sleep through what is wrong with you? And I look over, and there's a TV screen in the lobby of this hotel. It's playing CNN, and in the corner it said 4:22 a.m. I'm looking at it. I'm like, CNN got the time wrong also. Like, getting the news wrong is one thing, but the time, you can't even get the time right. And I realized, I'm like, no, you idiot. It's 4:20 in the morning. You didn't miss anything. You went to sleep. They didn't pray shacharit yet. They didn't anything. Everything's okay. And the reason she's looking at you like a weirdo, because it's Saturday morning at 4 a.m. and some weirdo just came out of the stairwell in a hotel that no one has ever come out of before because they have elevators, and she's never seen a Jew in her life in the middle of Nowheresville, Chicago. And you came running in, you're wearing one shoe, half a tie, and you're holding a jacket. She thinks you're out of your mind. She's like pushing the panic button for the police. And I'm sitting over there in the middle of this hallway, and I'm like, how in the world did I get all the way down here, half-dressed, killing myself, beating myself up? How did I get this far without figuring out what happened? It's not like me to oversleep. It's not like me to do any of these things. How did I get this far without thinking to myself, hey, maybe you got the time wrong. Maybe you didn't realize it's AM. Maybe, just stop for a second and think. But I didn't give myself any time to think. You know why? Because the negative story about myself, I believed immediately. I bought into that story immediately. How many guys have sat in front of me in years of working with guys, has sat in front of me and said, Rabbi, I promise you, if you knew what I get up to, what I do, if you knew, believe me, you wouldn't be saying I'm amazing. Believe me, you wouldn't be saying any of these things. If you knew the real me, that's the line. If you knew the real me, why is that the real you? Why is that negative part? Why is that the real you? Because it's shameful? Because that's the part that you don't talk about? That's why that's the real you? And the good things you do? No, I can write all those off. Those aren't, that's nothing. Why? Logically, tell me, why? It makes no sense. It makes no sense, but we believe it right away. Because we have whatever this is in our head. And really, we know what it is. It's the Satan trying to keep us down. Because he's so scared of us. Believe it or not, the Yetzer Hara does not care if you do an Averah. He doesn't. It's brought down all over. Why do we have tshuva?
To redeem yourself.
Right. Tshuva is one of the 613. If you never did an Averah, you cannot be Yotzei all 613 mitzvot. If you're a perfect tzaddik, you can't be a perfect tzaddik. You can't. No one could be Yotzei all 613. It's not physically possible. If you're a Kohen, you're not a this, right? It's just not possible. Not all of us are going to be a melech. Right? It's just not possible. But let's just say it was. You still won't be able to, because you can't do tshuva for anything. So we have these lofty ideas where we're like, no. So tzaddikim, they do tshuva, they do real tshuva for, he said one wrong letter and one wrong word. No, that's called OCD. That's just crazy. That's not real. No matter who you are, there's a dark side to us. And we struggle with that. But to sum ourselves up and say that's who we really are, that's a lie. I'll prove it to you. If you have a person who's disabled, Khalilah, person's in a wheelchair, been in a wheelchair their entire lives, is that who they are? Is that the sum of who they are? No. If we were to say that there is a sum of a person, what would we judge a person based on?
Good deeds.
Yeah, but there could be some really bad ones back there. What would we say? The total sum. So we have a person, and we look at their good, and we look at their bad, and we see the sum. What's that sum? The sum of their decisions, the sum of their actions. What have they done in this world? Now, I can show you, right? Someone just sent me, I forgot what it was, some marathon. I have a few of my students in Cleveland, they run marathons. Very sweet kids. They run marathons. Anyway, as you can tell, I don't run it with them. The point is, they recently ran, I hate everyone who just laughs at that, thank you. They recently ran actually the Miami one, and they did a few different ones. They were showing me a video of this girl who was born. I don't know exactly what the disease was, but some debilitating disease. And she was told that she wouldn't live to 3 years old, and she's like 15 now. They said that she wouldn't be able to walk, and she's all these things. And she, for the first time after years of therapy and all these things, she ran a marathon. She was able to run a marathon. This past marathon that they were at, she ran this marathon. She was able to run this marathon with them. And everyone, news crews were there. All these people were. Now, she didn't make... Now, imagine this woman runs across the end of the marathon, right? She has beaten science. She has beaten everything, and she made it. She beat the whole thing, and she made it to this marathon. She made it to this marathon. She did the whole thing. Imagine I go over to her after she finishes, after these miracles she pulled off. I go over to her after she runs across the marathon line. I say it to her, I'm like, yeah, but you didn't break any records. Like, you didn't win. You know you don't win. Now, everyone was cheering for her and partying with her after she crossed that line as if she won the whole thing. Now, what if I go over to her and I'm like, listen, it's not like you won. I don't know why it was making such a big deal. Everyone's like, no, you're only judging on the marathon, buddy. There was so much before this marathon. The fact that she's here is a miracle. The guy who won, he's a born runner. Good for him. He's a professional. It's what he does. All right, we're happy for him, but whatever. This girl who the whole world told her she can't run, she's not going to be able to walk, and she ran a marathon? That's mind-blowing. That's who she is. That's a sum of decisions. Who we are is not summed up by the worst thing we do. Who we are is summed up by the most difficult thing we do. By how much we fight. By how hard it was to get to where we are. Yet we want to believe that it's the most negative part. Why? So like I was saying, the Yetzer Hara, he doesn't care if you do something wrong. He doesn't care if you sin. He doesn't. Your sin doesn't mean anything to him. It's not a win. What does the Yetzer Hara want from us? If he doesn't want us to sin, what does he want? What's his goal?
To fail.
Not just to fail. Believe it or not, we're all going to fail. Well, if you come to one of the other speeches we're going to make, we discuss the idea of failure. It's not just to fail. You're right. He wants us to fail, but he needs something very important afterwards. Just failure doesn't mean anything. Failure to him is a business deal. He does the business deal. What do you want from a business deal?
To feel you can't get back up.
Ah! What do you want from a business deal? If I do a great deal with you,
Money.
there you go. I want to get paid. Right? All the greatest business deal in the world, I traded this building for, I bought the whole Manhattan. If I don't get paid for it, it doesn't matter. No one cares. I want to get paid. What does the Yetzer Hara want? He wants to get paid. How does he get paid? He gets paid by saying, you failed. Of course you failed. You know why you failed? You know why we fail? Anyone know why we fail? You know why we do averot? You know why we mess up? Because we were designed to. It's how we were made. It's how Hashem made us. What's the Yetzer Hara's want? What does the Satan want? He wants us to stay down. That's the point. Everyone's going to fail. Everyone's going to fall. He wants us to believe that we're failure. Not just that failure happens, but that's what we are. See, he gets into our heads and he says, this deep, dark part of yourself, that's who you really are. And the mitzvot, the davening, the learning, the coming out on a Wednesday night to sit listening to this guy in a shul, I'm amazed by you guys. It's incredible. It's beautiful. He wants you to stay down when you have zero reason to stay down. He wants you to feel like nothing so that you become nothing. He doesn't even want you to be bad. He'd much rather you be nothing. Why is he so hell-bent on this? Why does he want this so bad? What is he afraid of? He's afraid because the second a Jew, especially a young Jew, but the second a Jew realizes, hang on a second, I'm not nothing. I can do big things. The Ribono Shel Olam is actually really proud of me even though I did those averot. He loves me even though I did those averot. He celebrates me even though I did those averot. The second a Jew realizes that, there is nothing on earth that we can't do. Nothing. Which is why Jews do so well in survival situations. When it's either do or die, we tend to do very well. That's how we survive through the years of all persecution and hatred and all these things that happen to us. We survive very well because it was do or die. But when we're very comfortable, that's where things get dangerous. That's where the Yetzer Hara could creep in and say, you're not good enough. You are the sum of your averot. You are the sum of your failures. Stay down. That's all he's trying to tell us. Stay down. Oh, but I messed up and I went, right. You did all those things wrong. I saw something I shouldn't say. I said something I shouldn't say. I did all these things. Right, you're all those things. Now stay down. What's the Ribono Shel Olam saying? He's saying, Tzaddik, none of those are what you are. Because you never chose to even want to do those averot. You never chose to have any of that ta'eva. You never chose to have any of those ideas. You never chose any of that. It just naturally happened. If you were to look at your life and say, what did I actually choose to do? When I could have done something else. I had the opportunity and option to do something else. But I chose differently. What did I choose? You're going to see a lot of amazing things that you chose. That's what the Ribono Shel Olam is looking at. That's what he's looking at. He's saying, I didn't give him the ta'eva to sit and learn on a Wednesday night. I didn't give him that. This guy got that for himself. He developed that for himself. That's huge. That's enormous. He prayed when he could have slept in. That's amazing. It changes everything. And that's who we really are. Torah is the idea that the more we learn it, the more we understand, wait a second, greatness is not just a natural thing. Greatness is something I have to work on. The Torah given on Shavuot was the idea that every single one of us can work on becoming this great. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for having me. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should have a Shavuot that allows us to grow unendingly. Chag Sameach. That's exactly what I was thinking.